Live. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for today's special announcement. My name is Daniel Tyree, and I'm the Executive Director of the People's Party of Canada. Today, I'll be acting as an MC of sorts to facilitate the announcement. In a moment, Maxime will be announcing the appointment of 4 new regional lieutenants. Before I pass the floor to Max and our special guests, I wanted to provide some context on what this new role will be. These new regional lieutenant roles are advisor and spokesperson positions intended to provide regional representation in party communications and strategy. These new lieutenants will act as advisors, informing the party strategy from various regional perspectives, and will be available as spokespeople for the media for issues relating to their respective regions. Party lieutenants will have a long history in Canadian politics, but typically are designated for Quebec only. This role is typically added when a given leader is an Anglophone, to provide the leader with an advisor or spokesperson who has a better understanding of Quebec's distinct language and culture. We've taken this concept and broadened its scope. The PPC recognizes that Canada is more than just 2 major regions, English Canada and Quebec. What makes Canada unique is our massive landmass and our broad set of regional identities and cultures, and our new lieutenant structure will reflect that. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce the man that needs no introduction, the leader of the People's Party of Canada, Maxime Bernier.
Thank you, Daniel. Merci beaucoup, Daniel. Thank you, everybody. Hello, everybody. Bonjour, tout le monde. I'm very happy to be here today and pleased to be here with my great new team of lieutenants. Je vais d'abord m'exprimer en anglais et faire la même déclaration par la suite en français. Daniel, notre directeur exécutif, Daniel, our executive director, has already explained the function of these new lieutenants, but I would like to explain why we are adding these new roles. a major issue I have been advocating for since the founding of the People's Party of Canada has been the preservation of Canadian identity, an identity I truly believe to be unique in a global context. Canadian identity is often misunderstood and made light of. It has been particularly under fire since Trudeau took power in 2015, most notably when he described Canada as a post-national state with no core identity. As you know, I disagree with Mr. Trudeau on that. I reject his concept of a post-national state. Canada does have a core identity. This much is obvious to anyone who has traveled around our country, and more so to those of us who have traveled abroad. We have a unique history, of course, and our society has been shaped by its founding peoples, First Nations, French, English, as well as by immigrants from all over the world who came to join them. Canada is also defined by her small population spread sparsely across a massive land. These factors created the environment for the development of a multiplicity of distinct regional identities, unique regional identities that are found nowhere else in the world, evolved within the Canadian context. The Western frontiersmen, the Quebecois, the Métis, the Acadian, and so many more. It is all these widely different regional identities united through a common feeling of brotherhood and shared interest that make Canada truly a unique country. Despite the vast differences between the mountains of the West Coast, the peninsulas of the East, and the plains that separate them, there is still a common thread connecting them all. These unique identities are worth nurturing and preserving. This comes right to the root of why I'm appointing these new regional lieutenants. I think it is important to highlight these varied regional identities and give a platform to voices and perspectives molded by them. This will be one of the roles of my new lieutenants. This expansion of our team is another critical step in our growth as a truly national political party. Our supporters know that we are building something necessary and critical for Canada's future, a legitimate national alternative to a corrupt and broken political establishment represented by the traditional political parties, Liberals, Conservatives, NDP, and the Bloc Québécois. I'm proud to work with great Canadians, such as my 4 colleagues behind me that helped me to grow this party. Since our first election in 2019, many critics have been quick to predict we would be nothing more than a flash in the pan, and that both elections would be our last. I'm happy to say reports of our demise have been greatly exaggerated. We are still here, we are still growing, and we are still fighting for distinct principles and policies based on freedom, responsibility, fairness, and respect. We are just getting started. I will now deliver these remarks in French before passing the floor to our new lieutenants. Je suis très heureux d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui et avec aussi mon équipe talentueuse de lieutenants. Oui, Daniel, notre directeur général, a déjà expliqué la fonction de ces nouveaux lieutenants, mais j'aimerais vous expliquer pourquoi. Pourquoi nous ajoutons ces nouveaux postes à notre parti? Parce qu'un enjeu majeur que je défends depuis la fondation du Parti populaire du Canada est la préservation de l'identité canadienne. Une identité qui est, selon moi, unique dans un contexte mondial. L'identité canadienne est souvent mal comprise et bafouée. Elle a été particulièrement critiquée depuis que Trudeau a pris le pouvoir en 2015, notamment lorsqu'il a décrit le Canada comme un État post-national sans identité fondamentale. Comme vous le savez, je suis en désaccord avec M. Trudeau. Je rejette son concept d'État post-national. Le Canada a une identité unique, fondamentale. Cela est évident pour quiconque a voyagé dans notre pays et plus encore pour ceux d'entre nous qui ont voyagé à l'étranger. Nous avons bien sûr une histoire unique et notre société a été façonnée par ses peuples fondateurs, les Premières Nations, francophones et anglophones, ainsi que par des milliers d'immigrants venus de partout dans le monde se joindre à nous. Et le Canada est également défini par sa petite population dispersée sur un grand territoire et un peu partout à travers le pays. Ces facteurs ont créé un environnement pour le développement d'une multiplicité d'identités régionales variées, des identités régionales uniques que l'on retrouve nulle part ailleurs dans le monde. Et ces identités ont évolué dans un contexte canadien. Les pionniers de l'Ouest, les Québécois, les Métis, les Acadiens et tant d'autres se sont joints à nous. Ce sont toutes ces identités régionales extrêmement différentes, unies par un sentiment commun de fraternité et d'intérêt partagé, qui rendent le Canada vraiment un pays unique. Malgré les grandes différences entre les montagnes de la côte ouest, les péninsules de l'Est et les plaines qui les séparent, il existe toujours un fil conducteur qui les relie toutes. Ces identités uniques méritent d'être entretenues et préservées. C'est pour cette raison qu'aujourd'hui, je nomme ces nouveaux lieutenants régionaux. Je pense qu'il est important et primordial de mettre en lumière ces identités régionales variées et de donner une plateforme aux voix et aux perspectives façonnées par elles. Ce sera l'un des rôles de mes nouveaux lieutenants. Cette expansion de notre équipe est une autre étape importante, une étape critique dans notre croissance en tant que parti politique véritablement national. Nos partisans le savent très bien que nous construisons quelque chose de nécessaire et d'essentiel pour l'avenir du Canada. Une alternative légitime et nationale à un establishment politique corrompu et défectueux représenté par les partis traditionnels libéraux, conservateurs, néo-démocrates et le Bloc québécois. Je suis fier de travailler avec des Canadiens comme vous, comme nos lieutenants, comme mes 4 collègues derrière moi pour faire grandir ce parti. Depuis notre première élection en 2019, de nombreux critiques ont vite prédit que nous ne serions que rien de plus qu'un feu de paille et que les 2 élections seraient nos dernières. Je suis très heureux d'annoncer que les nouvelles concernant notre disparition ont été grandement exagérées. Nous sommes toujours là, nous grandissons et nous nous battrons toujours pour nos politiques, nos principes de liberté, responsabilité, équité et respect. Et nous faisons que commencer. Merci.
Now, I'd like to give each of our new lieutenants the opportunity to speak, starting west to east. First up, we have our new lieutenant for Western Canada and the Territories, Kelly Lorenz. Kelly is a veteran who served with the Canadian Airborne Regiment and the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. For the last 12 years, Kelly has worked as a corrections officer and has become a highly respected negotiator. Kelly is a rare 3-time PPC candidate. He represented the party in Calgary Nose Hill in 2019. In last year's federal election, he ran as our candidate in Red Deer Mountain View, and immediately after ran another campaign for one of the Alberta seats in the federal Senate. I'd like to pass the floor to Kelly.
Thank you, Danielle and Maxime. I am very honored to have been appointed to represent the West and the North. I certainly don't take for granted the trust Max and the party have placed in me, and the trust the voters placed in me during the last campaign. Appointing regional lieutenants will go a long way to show we are committed to serious party. Having a regional lieutenant also shows Maxime's commitment to the West. For far too long, parties have pandered to us when it is politically convenient, but have done absolutely nothing for us. The PPC does what's best for all Canadians, letting the provinces govern their own affairs. In the West, we know what is best for our region, and now I'll be able to provide a direct line right to Maxime, right from the West, and we will really have a seat at the table when it comes to advising him about what is happening on the ground. I'm also thankful that Max has made a point of representing the representation for the North, for the incredible people and communities in the Arctic. The North faces a unique set of circumstances and distinct and increasing security challenges. I look forward to advocating for the needs of the region. Maxime is right. Canada has an identity unique to the world stage, and we need to be proud of our heritage, our identity, and our values. People have come from every corner of the world to be a part of our culture. Within Canada, the West has a unique identity too. Our abundant natural resources, our entrepreneurial drive, our love for freedom dominate our political discourse. The resilient natural beauty and distinct cultures in the North stir the imagination of visitors and Canadians alike, and contribute so much to our national history. Westerners are no longer content with the status quo. We want cooperation, not alienation. We need dignity, not division. The PPC is bringing Canadians together while respecting the regional characteristics that make us unique.
Perfect. Thanks, Kelly. Next up, we have our Ontario Lieutenant, Cole Squire. Cole is a member of the Six Nations Reserve and a political science student at McMaster University. He has worked as a personal support worker at the Brantford General Hospital and helped found the Six Nations Imaginary Library. Cole was a first-time PPC candidate in last year's federal election and ran in the riding of Brantford-Brant. Cole?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Daniel. My name is Cole Squire, and I'm the People's Party of Canada candidate for the riding of Brantford-Brant in southwestern Ontario. I was extremely honored to run and fight for the great people within my riding during the last federal election. The PPC provided an opportunity for Canadians to vote for the only political party that put Canadians and our country first, while totally rejecting globalism and global governance. It is a great pleasure to be here this morning with such an auspicious team, including our party leader, Maxime Bernier, and fellow lieutenants Daniel, Kelly, and Michelle, as we launch an exciting new initiative to decentralize and expand our party's messaging across our beautiful country. This will allow each of us lieutenants to better serve and advocate for the Canadians in our respective regions. This will also give us an opportunity to provide an authentic regional perspective to national issues and political discourse. We'll also have the opportunity to work with fellow PPC candidates to secure the vote for the next federal election. I am thrilled to work with the great people of Ontario and bring attention to the issues that are most salient to them, including the financial burdens being placed on our farmers, critical race theory and radical transgenderism being imposed on our children, and of course, Doug Ford and the provincial government's unconstitutional mandates. I encourage all Canadians to read our platform at thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca. The PPC is committed to balanced budgets, a 0% inflation target, abolishing the personal capital gains tax, increasing Canadian oil and gas production, protecting the rights of legal firearms owners, ending corporate welfare, and defunding the CBC, just to provide you with a few examples. Over 820,000 Canadians voted for the PPC in 2021, despite numerous attempts by the mainstream media and other political parties to ignore and discount us. The truth is, we are the fastest growing political party in our nation's history, and we are moving straight ahead to secure and fight for the values and principles that our country was founded on. We will continue to fight back against modern-day fascism, authoritarianism, and censorship while respecting our country's constitution, including our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is the supreme law of our land. Lastly, I'd like to send a message to all my fellow Canadians. While at times it may seem that all hope is lost and evil has triumphed, remember this: that every time throughout human history when mankind was on the brink of succumbing to total tyranny, all it took was a committed, small fringe minority of good men and women to stand up and protect and defend the rights and freedoms that are instilled in us by our Creator, not any man or any government. We were born for this very moment in time to stand up and fight back against the wicked forces that seek to destroy our values, our principles, our nationhood, and our rights and freedoms. We will never bow down to tyranny in this nation, and we will rise to any occasion to secure our destiny, freedom, peace, and prosperity. Thank you.
Thanks, Cole. Next, our Quebec Lieutenant Danielle Brisson will deliver remarks in both languages. Danielle is a computer scientist by trade and has a degree in political science. He also owns and operates an IT and strategic business consulting firm and acts as vice president of the Canada-Europe Economic Chamber. Danielle has immense experience in Quebec politics and has taken part in elections at the municipal, provincial, and federal levels. Danielle served as the PPC candidate for the riding of Louis Hébert in the 2019 election and the candidate for the riding of Quebec in the 2021 election. Danielle has also served as our provincial coordinator for Quebec for the last year. Danielle?
Thank you, Daniel. Merci beaucoup. Merci, Maxime, pour cette confiance. Je suis honoré de cette nomination de lieutenant du Québec et merci, chers collègues, d'être là. C'est un plaisir d'être à vos côtés. Alors, cette nomination est une autre étape de plus vers la croissance du PPC au Québec, mais surtout d'une présence soutenue d'un parti et de son chef qui ont à cœur les vrais intérêts des citoyens canadiens dans toutes les provinces. Le Québec a sa place au sein d'un gouvernement fédéral, au sein d'un conseil exécutif, au sein d'un conseil des ministres, chose que jamais le Bloc québécois régionaliste ne pourra offrir. Je serai disponible pour promouvoir les valeurs de liberté, d'équité, de responsabilité et de respect, qui sont les principes fondateurs du Parti populaire de Maxime Bernier, un parti de conviction fait pour les citoyens et pour leurs droits et libertés. C'est ainsi que je vais travailler fort, continuellement, à bâtir une véritable force du Parti populaire du Canada au Québec. Partout au Québec, dans toutes les régions, il y aura des candidats et des candidates dans tous les comtés et déjà, il y a une équipe de coordonnateurs régionaux en place qui travaillent fort à chaque jour à représenter non seulement le parti, mais ses idées uniques afin de retrouver un Canada et un Québec dignes de ce nom. Que ce soit la Gaspésie, la Côte-Nord, la région de Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, l'Estrie, Montréal, Québec, l'Abitibi, la Montérégie, toutes ces régions seront représentées et nous serons à l'écoute des citoyens partout, avec des gens impliqués dans leur milieu. Une première tournée au Québec sera ainsi lancée en juin. Vous aurez ainsi la chance de rencontrer plusieurs coordonnateurs régionaux, toutes les équipes et les bénévoles. Je m'assurerai aussi que tous les enjeux régionaux majeurs, importants, impliquant le fédéral dans le respect des compétences établies, seront bel et bien pris en compte par les représentants du parti partout au Québec, que ce soit dans les secteurs miniers, le secteur ferroviaire, le fleuve Saint-Laurent, le secteur du transport aérien, les barrières interprovinciales et internationales. Nous serons là pour vraiment représenter un Québec, non pas replié sur lui-même, mais fort et fier, assis à la même table que toutes les provinces canadiennes. Lorsque Maxime ne pourra pas être présent au Québec, parce que c'est grand à couvrir le Canada, je me ferai un devoir de représenter les idées du parti en toute confiance, en plus de lutter contre les injustices commises par les gouvernements, tant celui d'Ottawa que du Québec. Les principes de liberté s'appliquent à tous les citoyens, y compris les Québécois et les Québécoises. Il est temps que nous retrouvions une vraie place au sein d'un gouvernement qui va représenter les Canadiens libres et non pas un agenda mondialiste. Il est plus que temps d'oser se lever contre cet agenda politique dont le Québec finira par en payer le prix. Au Parti populaire du Canada, nous ne faisons pas semblant d'aimer la liberté, nous la portons. Tous ensemble, nous serons des citoyens forts, libres et unis d'un océan à l'autre. Et cela passe par le Québec. Now, thank you, Maxime, for this trust and all the team with me. Now, this nomination is another step towards the growth of the PPC in Quebec, but more importantly, of a sustained presence of a party and his leader who have at heart the true interests of Canadian citizens in all provinces. Quebec has a place in the federal government, a strong place in the executive, something that the regionalist Bloc Québécois can never offer. I will be available to promote the values of freedom, fairness, responsibility, and respect that are the founding principle of this party, with a great chief at its head. A party of conviction made for citizens and their rights and freedom. This is how I would continually work hard to build a true People's Party of Canada force throughout Quebec. In all regions, there will be candidates for all ridings, and already there is a team of coordinators in place who are working hard to represent not only the party, but its unique ideas in order to regain a Canada and a Quebec worthy of the name. Whether it is Gaspé, the Saguenay, Lac-Saint-Jean region, the North Shore, the East Coast, the Eastern Townships, Montreal, Quebec City, Montérégie, Abitibi, all these regions will be represented, and we will be listening to citizens everywhere, with people involved in their communities. A first tour of Quebec will be launched in June. You will have the chance to meet the regional coordinators, all the teams, and the volunteers. I will also make sure all major regional issues involving the federal government, while respecting the established jurisdictions, will be well and truly taken in account by the party's representatives throughout Quebec, whether it is in the mining sector, the rail sector, the St. Lawrence River, the airports, air transportation, American border, interprovincial and international barriers. We will be there to truly represent a Quebec that is not inward looking, but strong and proud, sitting at the same table as all Canadian provinces. When Maxime won't be present in Quebec because he has all the Canada to cover, I will make it my duty to represent the ideas of the party in all confidence, in addition to fighting against the injustice committed by the governments both in Ottawa and Quebec. The principles of freedom apply to all citizens, including Quebecers. It is time that we find a real place in a government that will represent free Canadians and not a globalist agenda. It is high time we dare to stand up against the political agenda for which Quebec will end up paying the price. At the PPC, we don't pretend to love freedom, we wear it, we bring it, we talk about it. Together, we'll be strong, free, and united citizens from coast to coast, and that includes Quebec. Thank you, merci beaucoup.
Last but certainly not least, we have our Atlantic Canada Lieutenant, Michelle Lindsay. Michelle is an entrepreneur with 2 businesses focusing on health, nutrition, and fitness programming for Canadians. She is the past president of the Metro Business Association, a member of the Cole Harbour Business Association, and owner-operator of 2 businesses in Nova Scotia. She is the mother of 3 wonderful children. Michelle is the PPC candidate of record for her home riding of Dartmouth-Cole Harbour for the last 2 federal elections. Michelle?
I would like to thank everyone for being present, and I would like to thank Maxime Bernier and my colleagues. Thank you. I'm greatly honored to accept the title of Atlantic Canadian Lieutenant for the People's Party of Canada. As a candidate of record for the last 2 elections, I have seen our Nova Scotian team work with endless energy and passion in the hopes of electing a People's Party government that will respect our nation's democracy, its values, its constitution, its charter, your fundamental rights and freedoms. This message I will commit to spreading throughout our eastern coast. The People's Party platform displays true concern for the future of national and economic security, prosperity, fiscal responsibility, well-being, and equal opportunity for everyone. We, the People's Party, maintain 4 principles: responsibility, freedom, fairness, and respect. And we acknowledge that the citizenry, the people, hold the power, and that MPs are merely elected by the people to represent their voices in the House of Commons. But in recent years, many Canadians, and I am one, have found a voice to be absent, theirs. The traditional political parties have become so intoxicated by the quest for power, for their own survival, that they have forgotten their commitments to Canadians. The democratic role of our parliament has been degraded with the tainted ideology of power over the people, rather than respecting the power of the people. We have been misguided, have seen misguided representation, and a disrespect for our Constitution. In recent months, we have seen medical treatment coercion, we have seen privacy laws broken, the freezing of bank accounts to stop peaceful protesting, and protesters arrested. We have seen people refuse travel, refused employment, and employers forced to commit extortion by our government. No vax, no work. We are witnessing a shortage of housing because demand is rising faster than supply. People can't find a place to live. We have seen an out-of-control inflation due to disastrous monetary policy, which our PM chose to ignore, and the irresponsible spending by government with money we don't have. And now we see our Liberal government considering an undemocratic pandemic treaty with the WHO, giving them authority over our nation during a pandemic. Who elected them? Is there another 4th level of government? We have seen little pushback against these policies from legacy media. Do you know why? Because the elite corporate media has accepted cash and bribes from the Liberal government. It trumpets the Liberal talking points when it should really be holding the government accountable to you, the Canadians. Canada needs a government committed to respect, one respectful of our Constitution, our Charter, our citizens, a government committed to fairness, a government committed to responsibility and accountability, accountable for its actions, for its outcomes, and to Canadians. A government, especially a government, committed to your fundamental freedoms. Because without freedom, there is no dignity. And without freedom, we cannot be that representative of freedom to the world. Join us in demanding good government. Join the chorus of voices demanding freedom. Join the People's Party of Canada, because you deserve to have your voice represented in the House of Commons. We are the People's Party of Canada. We are the true North, strong and free. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for coming down to Ottawa for this important announcement. Have a great day.